Hello, and welcome to Weekend Hoops Recap. Now, we're going to try to make this a tradition every single weekend where we just recap the NBA basketball weekend, things that have happened. And I think the two biggest things that happened this weekend is that Luka Doncic and the Lakers dominated the Nuggets, and the Celtics beat the Knicks once again. The Knicks are now 0-7 against top teams in the East, and they haven't won a game against the OKC Thunder, so the top teams in the league pretty much. But yeah, the gang is all here. Drew is rocking the Luka Doncic jersey. He was waiting on a good Luka Doncic performance to do so. But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about on this stream. And then tomorrow we're going to record the full-length podcast. So, fellas, how are you guys doing?
Doing great. The Knicks are terrible, man. It really breaks my heart. The Knicks really are just not fun to watch when they're going up against good teams. We were trying to convince ourselves, like, oh, third quarter, coming back. This is fun. And then Jalen Brunson hits the bench, and the game's essentially over. But my Lakers, we're here, baby. Come on now. Mr. Dells, don't run. Mr. Dells, don't run. I'm begging you.
I would run from Luka. You serious?
I would. But
you know serious?
LeBron James. You can talk about Luka, fat, out of shape. Oh, Larry. LeBron James.
Nothing to say about that. Austin Reeves, I respect the hell out of him too. He's having a great year.
Come on now.
He's one of your people.
He's one of my people.
That's the type of guys I like.
Now, Riv, it's nice of you to be here. We were on playback watching the game. You claimed the Cavaliers. They beat the Knicks the other night. They blew them out. And I woke up in a really good mood today, and I was hoping that this game wouldn't be another Knicks blowout against a competent team facing the Celtics.
You bet on it.
I'll be honest. Yeah, I bet on the spread for them to cover 7.5. Weren't able to do so. I actually felt better about this game. It wasn't like the other ones. I feel like the other ones were like truly demoralizing, soul-sucking. The loss to the Cavaliers also was very demoralizing and soul-sucking. But this game, it wasn't, and we can get into it. The Knicks lose again, obviously, to top teams. They're 0-7, and I think it's pretty much clear at this point.
Don't act like you don't see that little muscle right there.
Oh, I do see it. You got some muscle right there showing.
Don't.
I think we have enough evidence to now fully make this statement that the Knicks are the biggest pretenders in the NBA. There's not one team in the NBA that you look at and you say they're bigger frauds than them. You know that they can't compete for a championship, and that was my gripe with the trades they made in the offseason, is that they clearly made all-in moves. And anybody saying differently is trying to gaslight you. The Knicks made moves to go all in and to compete with the Celtics, and they're clearly on a different level. They're outclassed. I would do the Cat trade 10 times out of 10. I think that was a good trade, but he still has his defensive deficiencies, although he played good in this game. Mikal Bridges, where the hell are you? Before garbage time, he has 6 points in this game. He had the worst plus-minus on the team with -23. We traded 5 first-round picks for him. And right now, how I'm feeling is I'm actually feeling glad that Mikal is only under contract for one more season. After next season, he could be gone. And if it's up to me right now with the way that he's playing, I would look to move him in the offseason, and I would look to not bring him back and not pay him big bucks because he's not worthy of big-time money. Mikal Bridges, I told you guys on playback, that's what we were on before this. I'm calling Mikal Bridges Mikal Ridges. He doesn't deserve to be in his last name. He gets no buckets. That's a fact. Mikal Bridges is sorry. He's terrible. He doesn't show up in these moments. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, I can at least admire their effort. I thought Tom Thibodeau kind of sabotaged the Knicks because the lead was 7 points. It was 89-82 before the third quarter ended. And then in the fourth quarter, the next time Brunson checked in, it was 105-91 because Brunson was not in the game. This is how I'm feeling about the Knicks. They made an all-in move for a team that clearly is in a different class. They're in a different stratosphere. The Celtics are much better. The Cavaliers are much better. And the Knicks right now, I mean, we have to see if they're going to be able to get out the first round. Like, if they run into a bad matchup, it could be some trouble. But in the second round, if they face the Celtics, which right now it's a 55% chance that they will play the Celtics, we're done. We're done. It's cooked. It's over.
What's Mikal's nickname?
Mikal Ridges. Mikal Ridges.
Why is that?
Let's let
Because
Dels
he gets no buckets.
Yeah, let's let Dels talk. This is your team.
I hated that.
Talk about
Listen, man, this is what Boston does to you, I guess. Is this what happens? I mean, listen, Joel, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because even when all these trades happened, you said we don't match up with Boston. You said your actual tweet, you listed out Jalen Brunson, McHale, OG, Cat. This is the core we're going to be going with. And listen, sometimes you got to write it out. Sometimes you got to say it out loud to either convince yourself one way or the other. You convince yourself early on this is not going to be it.
You can't look at that roster and think that this is it.
No. With that being said, I don't think it should be this bad. I don't think this was the closest of the game, right? Boston ends up winning by 12 or 13 points. They were up 30 or 27 at one point in the second or third quarter. Knicks made a great comeback, so I'll give them credit cuts about 5 or 7 points. But a majority of these games against Cleveland, against Boston, even the game against OKC, haven't been close and haven't really been competitive, right? I think when you made these deals, you thought that at the least you'd be competitive, right? Like, oh, if we played Boston in the playoffs, we could take that to 6 games. Maybe we could take it to 7. I don't think a lot of people thought they would win that series, but at a minimum, be competitive. Right now, maybe they win a game. Maybe they win a game against the Cavs. Maybe they win a game against Boston, but they are so far away from that top upper echelon, stratosphere in terms of NBA teams right now, really those 3 I just mentioned earlier. But their biggest weakness is something that they can't really solve right now, right? Like having Cat and Jalen Brunson out on the court is going to cause some issues. And there's some issues with Mikal Bridges. OG Anunoby didn't have a great offensive game today too. But to rely on Mitchell Robinson to be I don't want to say answer because I think that's expecting too much, but to be a difference maker in the playoffs, I feel like it's putting way too much on his plate. This is a guy that hasn't played all season long, and now he's going to go from not playing to having maybe a month of ramp up, right? We don't even know exactly when he's going to be up. And now all of a sudden, we need you to give us 20 real high intensity minutes in these playoffs to feel like we got a chance against some of these teams. So since the Knicks offense is so good, I think you'll be fine in the first round. I do think you get past the first round. If you play Milwaukee, it'll be interesting. Right now, you're slated to play the Pistons. I think you'd beat the Pistons. But the offense is good enough to get you past that first round. Once you get into these 7-game series, though, against Boston and against Cleveland, if you match up with one of those, then you really need your offense to just be on fire. You need to be shooting 38, 40% from 3 on a high volume. And you really need those perimeter defenders that we know can guard, maybe not McHale, but OG Anunoby I know can lock down. He was fine on defense today. Talk about Boston real quick because that was enough Knicks plays. Oh, dude, I love this team, man. I love this team. It's so good. It's so good. And last year's team was historic. Don't get me wrong. The numbers this year aren't going to be as good as what they were last year, but Boston has a chance to be a historic regular season team for coming off a championship, right? They're on pace for 60 wins. They're on pace to have, I think, the second best point differential on the road in NBA history. They did have that 2-month stretch, last month, basically the beginning of December to the end of January, where they were trolling, right? They were fucking around with the Clippers when they didn't have their starting 6 guys. They lost to the Raptors and dogfights with the Pelicans. But what they have shown, I would say the 8 games prior to the All-Star break and now through these couple games post All-Star break, all right, it's time to turn up the gear. It's time to get back into the stretch of us playing our brand of basketball. Tatum is probably on his best 10-game stretch of the season so far. Drew Holiday had a great game. And Luke Kornet, too. Luke Kornet, I don't know if anyone's witnessing it because it's Luke Kornet and it's the regular season. He's going to have a moment in these playoffs where people are going to realize, holy shit, he's one of the best backup bigs in the NBA. He's been doing it all season long. He's been great as a rim protector. He's been great in the short roll as a passer. He could finish around the rim. He's been fantastic for us because, a lot of people worry about Al Horford and KP and the age and injury history. Not saying he could replicate what they do, but I feel really secure of him in terms of a backup big role. Derek White doing Derek White things, and Jaylen Brown was dominant in that second half, kind of slow start. But yeah, it's a tough matchup for the Knicks. I don't think they get past Boston. I don't think they get past Cleveland. But Boston showed once again today why they should be the favorites in the East.
Man, first of all, Steph's heating up in the first quarter, and give me 20 more games in this, and I'm gonna remember all those people who talk shit about him. But just to speak on what happened the past couple games, specifically in New York, I want to give Brunson some respect because I don't think, in a series against Cleveland and a series against Milwaukee, it would just be an easy walk by. I don't believe that for a second. I think we can still see a potential 5-6 game tough outing because you got to think the playoffs are much different than the regular season. You have a lot more time to schematically scheme up something, create a game plan, be able to, throw out a game plan to kind of counter somebody else's. So it's definitely a different vibe. Right now, New York just like Dell said, there's a lot of problems that they just can't fix right now. Like you're not going to be able to fix Cat's defensive issues with him at the 5, but offensively, you get his best when he is at the 5. So, and you put him to the 4, defensively, he'll be fine. But offensively, I don't think he'll give you the same output as a center. I think it would just be a little bit different. And on top of that, the spacing that they have with him at the 5, and you roll out OG, you roll out Mikal, it really brings a different dynamic to this offense. So they just have a plethora of problems. And I know the whole idea of let's wait and see when Mitch gets back. This dude has played maybe 50 games in 2 seasons. I mean, this guy, you cannot rely on him, unfortunately, because he's a really good player. You cannot rely on him to be healthy. So waiting on him, you got to kind of hit on those, like Dell's mentioned, those Luke Cornett's, the Golden State's Quentin Posts. Like you got to kind of hit on those type of players for a team that spent this much money in their starting 5, those unsung heroes to kind of help you in the situation. And right now, there is no reinforcement. I mean, Boston is just an awful matchup for the Knicks. They've shown that in 3 outings. And I think even just looking at it from a schematic standpoint, it's just there's no way New York can win that series. But I still think New York has to figure out is the other series against the Cavs, against Milwaukee, against the Detroit Pistons. Well, I know I don't think they'll win that series, but Detroit, that's still a tough series defensively for New York because I think defensively Detroit's a solid team. So there's no walk by for New York because defensively they're chopped liver. As for Boston, I mean, they showed you what they are. They, like Dell's mentioned, they've done all this historical stuff to be the number 1, 2 seed in the East. It's funny to me to be number 2, but they've just been that great. They've been that special. In Boston, they've kept that continuity together. They have the coach, they have the starting 5, and they just keep plugging in these gems off the bench. Peyton Pritchard, who they drafted a while ago, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, who they found in free agency. Keto, when he gets his minutes, like they've just found these gems or these diamonds in the rough in free agency, in the draft, and they've been able to excel at just building out their roster. So Boston showed that their Boston primetime game, they showed up. New York, they got a lot to figure out. Maybe for 5 minutes of that game, we felt like it could be a good game, but they have a lot defensively they need to figure out. And offensively, they need more juice, man. I watched this game, and I just felt like there was a lot of stuff that you kind of knew was going to happen. It felt predictable. It felt like you knew what was going on. It was a lot of guys who don't fear you when attacking the rim, and they need a little bit more edge to that offense. But they've been a top offense all year, but specifically talking about against those primetime matchups. You just got beat by 40 by Cleveland in Cleveland a couple of days ago. Then you head out to Boston and you get blitzed again. Not an ideal situation when going up against 2 of the best teams in the East.
And on a bigger scale, you look at Drew Holiday and how people talked about him before coming to the Celtics. We were pretty vocal, especially after that series versus the Heat and the way that Jimmy was absolutely going berserk against them, particularly against Drew Holiday. A lot of dirt was thrown on his name. He goes to the Celtics, has one of his career best seasons as a role player. Derek White getting traded to the Boston Celtics for a first and Naismith?
That was Josh Richardson and Romeo Langford.
Excuse me. For him to be at this level, nobody thought that Derek White would end up becoming this great of a basketball player. So you got to give them respect for the moves that they've made in the margins that have blossomed into what they've become, like you were saying, Riv. But when you look at the Knicks, and Joel, I understand being upset with Mikal. As a hopeful Knick supporter, it's been tough because I've tried to be optimistic, say, hey, Mikal's trying to adjust to this role. We saw him in the Suns as a third option. He was progressively getting better and better, but he was this amazing defensive player, second in DPOY. It's possible to get to that Mikal Bridges again. And as the season just continues to progress, I become less and less hopeful on that belief. And I understand, I don't think we'll ever get to the point where it's justified trading 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. The only way that trade can be justified is if the Knicks win the finals. And truthfully, I don't know if that's a possibility right now where this roster stands. It's unfortunate that Karl Anthony Towns gets as battered and gets as slandered as he does on the defensive side, but it's due to the fact that the Knicks legitimately have no backup option for him. And we constantly keep bringing up Mitchell Robinson, but Riv, you're spot on. How can we talk about Mitchell Robinson as this saving grace when you simply have not been able to rely on him at all in his tenure with the New York Knicks? We got a glimpse of it in that series versus the Cavaliers, what Mitchell Robinson can be when he's on the floor, his impact on the defensive side. That was one time in basically his entire tenure with the New York Knicks. You need him this year, and that is really unfortunate if you are a Knicks fan, because he's one of the most unreliable bigs in the association. The Knicks, unfortunately, are doomed where they currently stand. If you don't have a strong backup big, especially a defensive presence, which, again, I'm not relying on Mitchell, but OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, offensively, the inconsistencies that they provide night in, night out. OG gets a pass because he's unbelievable defensively, and at least he understands that that's his main priority night in, night out. But you need some level of consistency from him on the offensive side. But on top of it, Mikal, if you're not going to be this defensive demon, you need to show me something on the offensive side. You can't give me neither.
And the harsh truth, I'm sorry to break it, everybody, but Mitchell Robinson doesn't make the difference in getting blown out by 13 or 20 points. He doesn't make that difference at all. I think the Knicks have weirdly went from finding diamonds in the rough and value guys like Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Isaiah Hartenstein, Josh Hart, to overvaluing players like Mikal Bridges. I think that's really the one major move, because the cat trade, you do it 10 times out of 10. Julius Randle has no value across the league. The trade was pretty much Dante in a first-round pick for a Karl Anthony Towns, because Julius Randle, he's just an odd fit with almost like any other team. So you do that trade all the time, but the Mikal Bridges deal was really the nail in the coffin that was kind of unnecessary. And I don't know where the Knicks go from here. I think they're in a much better position than they were before, because the Knicks in the 2000s and in the mid-2010s were one of the worst run organizations in basketball. So the Knicks are a well-run organization now, but they just don't have the talent to match up with these top teams. And that's just the reality of the situation. The Lakers made the Luka Doncic trade, and he had 3 games where he struggled. And you guys got your jokes off. You know, Riv was very loud and obnoxious about those jokes, but you failed to realize the human aspect of Luka Doncic moving to a different place, heartbroken because he was so loyal, demoralized, buying a house, going to Los Angeles. He struggled a little bit. Guess what? You lose against the Jazz, you lose against the Hornets, but you beat the Denver Nuggets, a team that people think might contend in the Western Conference and could make it out the West. In this game, I saw the Lakers offense at its very best. Luka Doncic at his very best. The two-man game between Luka and LeBron is already a 10 out of 10. They play effortlessly next to one another. That is 100% a fact right now, and I love the passes that Luka's throwing to LeBron in these fast breaks in the half court. There are some passes he throws to him that are so good that he's just cut into the basket. They just generate easy offense, and I don't know about you guys, but watching that game last night, we know that Denver's going to adjust. But number one, JJ Redick is a phenomenal head coach, and the defensive game plan that he had for Nikola Jokic was outstanding. You look at how these teams match up. You look at the fact that last year in the playoffs, the Lakers led for 70% of the series. You think to yourself, you have better coaching, maybe they could put the nail in the coffin, and I think Luka gives them a better chance to beat them than Anthony Davis did.
I agree to a degree. Because I think AD played great in that series. You know, I think he played really, really well. And like you mentioned, they were up for damn near 80% of the series. It just came down to the fourth. The best player on the floor kept being Nikola Jokic, and then Jamal Murray hit a game winner or two. So that, but Luka, in theory, much better player than AD, obviously gives you a much better chance. I think the key for the main, and first of all, you're right. I've had a lot of self-reflecting over the past hour and a half, and I've decided that I have to stop being so negative and hard on these players. I have to start being a much better human being. And I apologize to Luka because I didn't think of the human aspect of this. I didn't think of him leaving his home, leaving his friends, leaving a place that he deemed home. And he's coming from Slovenia. You know how that feels for them. So I apologize. And I was rude to him. And I apologize to you.
That's grown of you.
I apologize to you, Joel, because I was very mean to you. And I shouldn't have been. I called Luka a fat ass, and I'm sorry about that. I am truly sorry about that. And I will say, he came to fucking play. And ironically, Drew, when Luka plays well, you guys win games. And that's all I feel like we've been asking him to do. Play well. And I know Joel, he feels like he's still injured, but he decided, drug up, I'm going to play really well against Denver. And he played amazing. And I think JJ Redick is the story of this game because we knew this Lakers offense would be really good. We knew this Lakers offense would be borderline elite because you have Luka, you have LeBron, such great playmakers and guys who have insane IQ, who can read defenses and can kill your first, second to third level of defense, can see plays 4 to 5 plays before they even happen. So you have those type of guys along with guys like Rui hitting shots, who's been a quality role player, guys like Gabe Vincent, who stepped up late hitting quality shots. You got guys like Austin Reeves, who as a number 3 option can now pick apart your third or fourth best defender, who's probably your worst guy. He can now dominate them. So now you have to build a game plan for him too. It's become a great offense. And then on top of that, defensively, they just decided, fuck all that. We are going to send the house at the Joker. We are not going to let him get nothing easy. And what killed me about that game consistently and how there was little to zero adjustments from the Denver Nuggets. They kept trotting out these same type of game plan. And then Westbrook at moments of the game was shooting them out, then shooting them back in the game. You know, they were leaving Eric Gordon. He was hitting the open shot, but you still would rather that than any play with the Joker, with the ball in Joker's hand. And then Jamal Murray, he had moments of this game too, but for a full quarter stretch, he wasn't as consistent as you want him to be. And Jamal said it. No, I mean, the Joker said it. We played 9 bad teams, or we had a stretch of 9 games against bad teams. We dominated. We showed out. We played a good team for once. They punched us in the mouth. Maybe we got too big-headed. We got to go back in the booth. And I agree. Now that the Denver Nuggets and the Lakers played, the Lakers got this matchup. Now it's about next matchup. How does Denver adjust? I think that's the biggest key for me. But the Lakers' offense was electric. Defensively, JJ Redick did exactly what you wanted Darvin Ham to do at any point last year. And JJ gets the full flowers for me because defensively he brought up, and he said he didn't sleep since Thursday night. He's been up nonstop preparing for this matchup, and I get it. And it was probably the best game plan we've seen for the Joker this year.
No, talk to me, Joel. Talk to me. Please. Talk to me because you said Saturday was going to tell you a lot. What did it tell you?
Listen, it told me a lot about the Lakers. There's a lot I learned about the Lakers last night. Number one, that was about as frazzled as I've ever seen Jokic on offense, at least this season at a minimum, because at one point me and Chelsea were watching the game and he hits his first bucket, I don't know, 8 minutes into the first quarter. It was long. He did not score for a while. And Chelsea's like, damn, like that was his first bucket. I'm like, yeah, but he's going to score 30 because Jokic does have these moments, right? Nuggets fans I know talk about it too, where he just won't shoot. Like the beginning of the game, the first quarter, he's just not involved, or at least he's not actively looking for a shot. But we know Jokic, he could end the first quarter with 2 points, but 6 assists and 7 rebounds. So we've seen him before have these starts where he's not looking for his shots, but he's trying to get others involved. But that went on the whole game. At the end of the third quarter, he had 5 shots. And the Lakers did a great job. I thought number one, just fronting Jokic. Whenever he was trying to get into the post, there was constantly a body in front of him, whether it was LeBron, whether it was Rui, Bando at times too. They were making it hard for Jokic just to touch the ball. Like for him to even get his first touch, they were trying their ass off to make sure he is working as hard as he can. There was possessions where Denver is trying to feed him in the post, and the Lakers aren't letting it happen. They're doubling early. Like I mentioned, they have someone fronting him. So they made it really difficult for him to just get the ball, let alone once he has the ball, now you're seeing 2 bodies. Now, if you go and you put the ball on the floor, we're sending you sometimes with 3 guys if you're around the rim. So JJ Redick did a great job in terms of game planning for this. With that being said, in a 7-game series, I know Jokic is going to figure this out, right? This is probably the highest, if not second highest IQ behind LeBron James in the NBA. So in a 7-game series, he's going to have counters for it. But it's dependent on his teammates, right? Because there was moments, like you mentioned, Riv, Russell Westbrook was losing you this game. He had 9 shots at one point in the second quarter, right? He was like 1 for 7 in the second. He was playing really poorly. Third quarter, he started hitting some shots, and that's when they went on a bit of a run, right? They cut to, I think, as close as 1 point. But if these, outside pieces like Aaron Gordon, who shot well last night, if these outside pieces aren't going to be hitting their open looks because they're going to get a shit ton of open looks, they have no chance, right? If these guys that we're counting on, Jamal Murray, who probably the least concerned with, but Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, these guys that LA's like, we'll live with it. Russell Westbrook, of course, they have to hit those shots at somewhat of a consistent rate because LA showed us last night that we'll live with it. And then talk about Luka. I knew he was going to play better, right? This was Luka's. This 3-game stretch he's been on is maybe the worst of his career, or at least the worst in the last 3 or 4 seasons post like rookie year. He was playing so poorly, but he did look like he had an extra step to me, right? I felt like those first 3 games, he like visibly looked slow. I feel like last night he had a bit of a quicker first step. He was just more active on both sides of the ball, but specifically on offense, he just looked a bit quicker than he did in games past. He got Thursday night off, I want to say, right? The back-to-back you had against
Portland.
Portland.
The Blazers game off.
Right, yeah. So he played Wednesday, then he had 2 days off, and then, so maybe that extra rest helped him a bit. But no, he looked great. I mean, he looked like Luka Doncic for the most part. He was hitting some long threes. Of course, he's been a great playmaker ever since day one when he got to LA. It was just really the shooting and the inefficiency. But he looked great. Like you mentioned, River Joel, the connection with LeBron is fantastic already. There's not even a whole bunch of build up there. It just works automatically. The look ahead passes, the full court passes to start fast breaks. He's been great in that department. And this was a game where it didn't feel like Denver was really trying to attack Luka because they were just going to Jokic, whoever was guarding Jokic. So it was easy to kind of keep him out of action. But yeah, 7-game series. I'm not just chalking this up like Lakers got to figure it out. It's over. But this is going to be something that at least gives them confidence within that locker room to be like, we can shut these guys down.
Yeah, I'm going to be delusional and thinking that we can get it done, but being truthful and understanding the reality. Jokic is going to get his eventually. He's Nikola Jokic. He's one of the best players we've ever seen in our lifetimes. He's going to get his. However, the Lakers lack size. We understand that. But it is very difficult to still be great when you have 3 bodies on you. It's hard. It doesn't matter who you are. 3 bodies to 1 is still a very tall task for you to accomplish, especially when your supporting cast isn't playing at their best. And you guys already mentioned Russell Westbrook, but what made me the most excited about this Lakers game is in that third quarter, you're taking a punch from Denver. Denver's going and they're making shots. You mentioned Russell Westbrook getting his and making some shots again and getting this game to the point where this is another typical Lakers-Denver game. Lakers are up. Denver starts to make they go and they take control of this game and they don't look back. No, but we watch the Lakers stay in this. Luka Doncic, Dorian Finney-Smith, our role players, Rui, Reeves, just hit shots and trust themselves and continue to shoot themselves back to really taking control of this game. And then in the fourth quarter, it was not even close. Listen, I say this very often. I may not be a fucking basketball savant for all 30 teams. When I talk about the Lakers, listen, because you look at our role players and what they were able to do last night, almost every single one of them contributed in a positive way. When you look at how great Rui Hachimura has been offensively, I didn't hear what you said.
THT guy.
I guess, but THT.
I'm fucking with you.
No, I understand. THT played good with the Lakers for that one season. I lost my train of thought. Oh, sorry. My role players. Rui Hachimura has been an awesome offensive basketball player. And obviously, Joel, I was throwing jokes at you about how great Rui Hachimura played defense. No, but the reality is JJ Redick has been an amazing coach. And I thought it was an amazing idea. I've never seen Jokic that frazzled, that confused, I guess, for a lack of better term, when he saw the amount of attention that he did. Throw 2 bodies, throw 3 bodies at Jokic every single time, full court press. Vando may not be a great offensive player, but we know what he provides on the defensive side. Gabe Vincent is not Miami Gabe. He's not that offensive player. He's not going to have the ball in his hand that way, but defensively, you know what he provides, and he was a plus 17 last night. We have role players that can play alongside Luka Doncic. DFS, we understand he has a history with him. I thought DFS played a pretty great game yesterday as well. Our role players really stepped up yesterday. We shot the 3 ball at an amazing clip, shooting almost 40%. I believe we shot over 40% until garbage time. We were at 41%. We really did a great job of winning on all levels. Our offense was there. This was the offensive output that I was envisioning when Luka Doncic joined the Los Angeles Lakers. When you have him, LeBron, Rui, Reeves, all going for over 20 points, Luka going for 32 points, it's going to be very hard to beat us, especially when our defense is clicking at the level that it did yesterday. Do I anticipate that to be the case every single night? Of course not. It's the NBA. But again, when Jackson Hayes plays strong amount of minutes, we win basketball games. Jackson Hayes has been really great for us on the defensive side of the ball as well. Really love what I saw yesterday. Definitely makes me optimistic for the rest of the season. But the offense, oh my God, that is exactly what I was anticipating when Luka got brought to the team.
Now, I think the Nuggets have a tough matchup because when Jokic goes to the bench, they struggle offensively with those Jamal Murray-led lineups. But when it comes to the Lakers, now that you have Luka, Reeves, and LeBron, you can stagger those minutes and you can always have at least one or two elite playmakers. When it's LeBron and Luka, you have elite level playmakers who can generate a good basket every time down the floor. You have those guys available to you. And I think the Nuggets and Lakers matchup in the playoffs is going to be an offense versus offense matchup. And the Nuggets have more shooters that you're more willing to leave open than the Lakers do. And even though Anthony Davis dominated last season in the playoffs, Jokic played better than him. And Anthony Davis is not Luka Doncic. The difference between a potential series this time in the playoffs is that the Lakers could potentially have, realistically, the best player in the series, the player who plays the best and can dominate and take over the series in a way that Anthony Davis cannot do.
I think what the real issue is Denver doesn't have any guys on defense that can really shut down or cause havoc. Or, Christian Brown is a really good defender, but I don't think he's a havoc guy. I don't think he's one guy where you can just put him on somebody and he shut them down for a series or a couple games. And Denver's defense looked lost in the sauce. They were messing up coverages. And I think that's the issue. Like, Denver doesn't have, and they've never really had this. They've just relied on timely stops and stuff like that. They don't really have this stout defensive unit. And that's why the Lakers offense was able to get it going. So with this specific matchup, it's really going to be tough. Like you mentioned, it could be offense versus offense. It depends on how Mike Malone's, adjustment period is. But defensively, man, it's gonna be tough for Denver, because you see JJ Redick, they have a scheme, they have a game plan. With Denver, it's just like, what? I don't know, what could it be? Switch everything, trap double, but they're not quick enough to get to their rotations. Well, at least last game, they weren't quick enough to get their other rotations. They wasn't communicating well enough. So it's going to be tough for them for sure.
Here's the thing. You switch everything, the Lakers win. You switch everything against the Los Angeles Lakers, because majority of those opportunities where they're going to switch everything and Luka Doncic has the ball, he's hunting mismatches. And that basically means, which I saw yesterday, we're trying to switch on to get Jokic to match up against Luka. And in those matchups, as long as you get to that next level, it's a bucket, however you want to shake it. The defense collapse, and Luka's going to make the right basketball play, whether that is going up, whether that is kicking out for the open three. That's where I don't know if switching everything is a great idea against the Los Angeles Lakers, especially since Luka's gotten traded there, because you see the amount of threes that we're taking a game. It's up drastically. And I don't believe, let me say, I'm going to hold on before saying we're just going to be this amazing, efficient three-point shooting team, because we haven't been that for the last couple of seasons. I know we have some players that can shoot the basketball for sure. I know Reeves, Rui, DFS, Gabe, LeBron in 2025, even Luka Doncic, who he hasn't been his usual three-point self this season, or I guess his from last year, I should say. We do have better three-point shooting. But again, we have so many different guys that can create for themselves. That's where I don't know if switching everything would necessarily be a great idea.
Now, we have super chats here. Verified Elijah goes, if you put 2009 LeBron on the Lakers, are they winning the chip this year?
What kind of question is that?
It's a weird
2009 year. LeBron. Well, 2009 LeBron can't shoot.
Yeah.
You kind of have to take that into account.
2009 LeBron is peak athleticism.
Yeah, but
the defense, he could probably make up for a lot of shit.
Yeah. LeBron literally, that 2009 can play center for us.
Yeah. It's just so crazy because, like, I mean, how far off is this LeBron from that 2009
That's what I was
LeBron?
thinking. Just because him, the shooting he brings now, it's like, don't get me wrong, 2009 LeBron was crazy, but
yeah, like this LeBron is still like a top 7 player in the world.
Yo, why isn't LeBron top 5 in the world?
I mean, he can be. Yeah,
you know what's crazy? And I saw
he's better than Luka. So I mean, he's like top 6 to me.
I saw someone tweet this, and they're right. LeBron James is first team All NBA. He literally is playing at first team All NBA after these people gotten injured.
That fifth spot's open.
Yeah, because of injuries, yeah.
Because of injuries, LeBron, God please be with him. As long as he stays healthy, he is a first team All NBA at the age of 40.
I mean, that's an asterisk.
No, but even still, he's been playing at a first
he would be All NBA regardless, right?
No, but
it's not like he's stuck onto the third.
Like you saying he would be first team All NBA because of injuries. That screams.
No,
out.
but I'm saying in due part, you take out probably Wemby, who would have been the first team All NBA. He's like that last guy because you have SGA, you have Giannis, you have Jokic, Tatum. that last spot either would have been
Luka.
Luka getting taken out as well. But, he obviously missed a good portion of the season.
Yeah. No, he could. Duran Faust goes, Jalen Brunson left $100 million on the table for this team.
For his bros, man. That's a real guy.
He's real as fuck for that. I'm not even that's not a knock like this guy thinks.
Yo, respectfully, I wouldn't do that for you.
Is Josh Hart untouchable? Is Josh Hart untouchable for the Knicks? Like, that's Brunson's boy. You can't move off. Josh
you know what's crazy is that
they have a podcast.
Josh Hart is the only other Knick outside of Brunson that I trust in big time moments. We can't lose his energy, but when you look at his contract, if we make another move that's big, he might have to be sacrificed, which I hope is not the case. I'd rather just fucking trade Mikal. Jake Kings goes, first of all, happy Black History Month, Uncle Rafe. Dales, you look handsome today. Calm, belt to ass on the Sunday for us Celtics. And in 5 P.S. Joel with Tatum tweet. Joel W. Tatum tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time. I mean, you've been praising Tatum here and there on Twitter.
So I love Jason Tatum.
When we get on the show, it's completely different.
Tatum is overhated, He gets hated for everything.
Listen, I'm not going to tell you I love Tatum anymore. I used to. Can't say I do anymore.
Tatum takes a sip of water and people fucking are wondering why it's not sparkling,
Type shit.
Freeholder 33 goes, I don't give a fuck who it is. No one can mess with Boston. Cry about it.
Lakers.
Right.
Beat us.
Beat us.
Damian Delgado goes, can we talk about how trash the Anomaly nickname is?
Losing me.
That honestly, shout out to the super chat. Dog shit super chat though. The Anomaly is one of the best nicknames of recent memory.
Yeah, I don't have like a take on these nicknames.
It's truly devastating how we've fallen off in terms of creativity.
Yeah, you're a big tip.
The Anomaly's creative, bro.
No, I'm not.
No, sorry.
I'm a Flash.
What's Shay's nickname?
So Flash, we're allowed to call someone the Flash, but like God forbid we call him the Anomaly.
Do you forget how he got the Flash?
He was fast as fuck, obviously.
Come on, what are we doing? Now we're losing.
The Flash is a great nickname. Like Spider for Donovan Mitchell. That's a great nickname. There's some, you know what I mean? Creative ones, but there's some
best nicknames are all comic related. Flash, Ant-Man, Spider. No, but God forbid we actually get into our smart people,
Superman,
our smart people mindset. Call him the Anomaly. Ew, yuck.
Because you got to think, Dwight Howard, Superman, because he could fly.
Yes, again, the
Flash,
best
D-Wade, so fast. Spider, D-Mitch, Slim Reaper, he's skinny, he dominates. He's
that's the best one.
That's the best.
Slim
Reaper is easily the best.
What's Shay's nickname? SGA?
SGA, he has no nickname. He's just a bucket. He's just walking human bucket.
Just 8 MMA goes, one of the top 2 players of all time with the generational player Lakers to the finals. MJ, Kobe, and Bird are not in the league anymore. Good luck.
Type shit.
So I think he's advocating for the Lakers to make the finals. I actually like the nickname JT over the Anomaly.
Why? That's whack.
It's just simple. It's just JT.
Like SGA's not a nickname. It's not.
His initials.
It's not like
it is his initials.
Like MJ.
JT.
MJ. That's not really a great nickname.
No, it's Air Jordan, brother. It's Air Jordan. That's the nickname.
Air Jordan. W.
I think didn't they call him Magic Mike?
Magic Mike seems a little sexual, if you ask me.
Let me look at
that. Would be Magic, would it not? I don't know.
It's Magic.
Yeah.
That honestly,
that was his GOAT nickname.
That's the GOAT nickname.
Hey, why would it be Magic? Magic doesn't have no Mike in his name.
No, I don't know. It's just
Magic isn't.
His name is Irvin.
I guarantee you,
that was
80% of people who watch us don't know his name is Irvin.
Okay. I'm on Michael Jordan's basketball reference. Let me share my screen real quick to do it. Okay. His nicknames are Mike, Air Jordan, MJ, His Airness, Money, Black Cat, Mr. June, GOAT, Superman, Captain Marvel, Black Jesus, and Magic Mike.
Some of them are Cap. Black Jesus, though, that was crazy.
Black Jesus is goated. I like His Airness is cool. Air Jordan, obviously. MJ's nuts.
Let's look at Jason Tatum's real quick.
Is the Anomaly on there?
Taco J, and the Anomaly.
Where is the Big Deuce?
The Big Deuce is tough. I like the Big Deuce
better.
The
Big Deuce is fine. No, the Anomaly's good.
He's got Big Deuce tatted.
Where's the Taco J come from?
You surprised I knew that or not?
No, I knew you knew that.
I'm
You
not
ain't know where
surprised,
all
but
the
you
cats
might
are.
need to go see a therapist.
It's on his hand, bro. It's on his hand.
Santos goes, love y'all. Love you too, Santos. Thank you for the super
Santos.
chat. We appreciate all you guys that pulled up for the live. We appreciate all the super chats, especially in this economy, fellas. We really do appreciate it.
Facts.
So we will be recording a podcast tomorrow, and we're gonna try to make these weekend lives a thing. So next weekend you can catch us here. We'll promote it better next time because we just did this out the blue. But thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next time.